Welcome to the Million Dollar Multi-Op Podcast. Here, you're going to find education, entertainment, and a little inspiration on how to get to the next level. Are you a DJ company owner that's looking for the secret sauce? Congrats, you found it.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Million Dollar Multi-Op Podcast. I'm your host, David Osborne, with BlueprintLearn.com. On the podcast today, most of the listeners know this guy. It is Eric Massengale. He is involved all over the internet, all over the DJ industry. A lot of people are very familiar with him. And if you're not, he's located in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is not that far from me, actually. The owner of Dow Oak Events, the co-host of DJ Live Podcast, the owner and operator of Automate Your DJ EP and Automate Your Simple, and a regular at industry conferences. Welcome, Eric.
Hello. That was a list. That was awesome. You just made me sound awesome.
Hey, listen, I'm going to celebrate you. And I want to just kind of jump right off the gun and say, we were talking in the pre-show. What is it? It's 2024. We met 6 or 7 years ago at what used to be Mobile Beat. No one knew each other at the time, and we were just at the Tropicana hanging out. Now the Tropicana's getting demolished, but we've known each other for a while. I've been on your podcast, and I'm just thrilled to have you on today.
Yeah. It's crazy to like we were saying, like thinking back at that dinner or whatever it was, the few people we're sitting with, how further along we are now and where we've gone and how different everything turned out probably than what you were thinking back then also. Like for me, I'm just I would have never assumed this is where I would be in 8 years or however many years. You know what I'm saying? So
100%. I think cool. Back in that 17, 18, I was a solo op struggling to create a multi-op, and I was fresh off of teaching, and
right.
I think that was the first time I was ever at an industry conference, and I just remember looking around, being awestruck by everything, and just learning what the industry was at the time. And now I'm fully aware of what the industry is, and get to talk to a lot of people in it, which is pretty cool. Well, yeah. So I mentioned in a lot of the things that you've accomplished, the Automate Your DJ EP and the Automate Your Simple, and that is a lot of the reason why a lot of people know who you are. I'm one of your success stories. I years ago I got the DIY version of Automate Your DJ EP, and I felt like it was seeing the Matrix for the first time because I had DJ EP, and I was like, "What's a booking helper?" Like, there's no education about what that is, and then just seeing how you did what you did was, oh my God, this is how this thing works. And I was able to implement a lot of your ideas, and then even take some of those things further and customize some things out. So thank you for that, and thank you for all the stuff that you probably maybe feel like you stumbled on, but have done for the industry.
Yeah. I was talking to a dude just the other day, and he's running a Google Sheets company kind of thing, and no details necessary, you get it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure, but like if you moved on to like a software driven company or an automated CRM, whatever you want to do, I was like, you'll probably double your income in a single year. I was like, I'm not gonna say that for sure, but it would make sense. Like that's just the growth potential, especially if you know how to run a company well with Google Sheets. Then you're just like a power combo. So it unlocks potential for sure.
It's such a cheat code in a way, because there's just a few pillars of having a scalable company, or a company that's healthy enough to reach 7 figures plus. And if it's just you, like if it's just one person running a Google Sheet or trying to maintain all these leads, and then just give yourself these reminders to reach out to people, you are limited by your own human error, and your own schedule, and just what comes up in life. But when you've got an automated system, it's working while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Which is just so clutch. And that's why it's so scalable, because you're delegating to technology.
Yeah. And I mean, like before, because I'm super prompt, because before I used DJ Event Planner, I was doing that, of course. And I'm prompt, but obviously, like you said, human error is human error. It's going to happen. I don't care if you're the smartest person to ever be, and the computer just doesn't mess up unless some glitch crap. But for the majority, it just kind of goes. I couldn't do any of what we do without specifically DJ Event Planner CRM, you know, maybe Simple now, but at the time, DJ Event Planner was the only one that checked all my boxes.
Absolutely. And, I think every time we look at those email reports or what's going out every day, the volume over the past several years has just increased tremendously to where, like, I don't want to send 40 emails today to different people and touch points. And I mean, it just all fires out. I mean, I wish I didn't fire it all out at 4:45 in the morning, but
right. Hey, I've heard it got that in the pipeline though. The word on the block on some people, I've heard it's in the pipeline at this point.
Okay.
We'll see.
Hey, at least there's the opportunity to change the time for the text messages, because that at least makes
they actually just upgraded that again. They upgraded that. Now you can base it on the start time or end time of an event. So that's a huge upgrade. Yeah.
Okay, stuff's happening.
That was 2 weeks ago, fresh, I think.
Okay, I'm a fan of that. I'm a big fan of that. And so I know that you've also been working with Simple, which a lot of people that I know have been talking about Simple and talking about switching. And
it's the new fancy, beautiful CRM. It's great. Brian, who is, customer facing part of Simple, he's awesome. Anyone who's ever talked to him likes Brian. I like Brian. They're good dudes. They care about the DJ community. They listen to their customers. They implement the things that they ask for, as long as they make sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone else is doing that. So I was all down to hop on that, at least to help them along.
And one of the things that I know about Simple, I've not dived really far into it, is just the idea of the open API. And I think for everything that I've ever tried to do with DJ EP, the limitations have ended with the fact that you can't connect things natively with the API, and you have to work around with Zapier or whatever it might be. So I'm pretty excited about just, Simple and the potential there, and just in the industry. And then also just maybe if that also encourages DJ EP to follow suit.
I think Simple's aiming for a higher tier of technology education, basically. Okay. And I think DJ Event Planner is trying to maintain the 101. As much as it's not 101, I just feel that way. This is yet again just what I think, but that's definitely the vibe I catch.
Okay. Yeah. And I think, like I said, I got a lot of friends who are talking about it. The fact that you also now have Automate Your Simple, I think it's just becoming the second party. It's becoming a choice, whereas for a long time there really wasn't a great.
Until now I would be like, use DJ Event Planner or F you, and I can't help you. That's literally my real answer. I'm not even trying to make money off you. It's just the truth. And then now there's the whole spiel about you gotta but it is only DJ Event Planner and Simple in that conversation still.
Right. And I think there's a lot of people who are putting a lot of great effort into creating CRMs. And I know Michael at Vibo, we do a software type deal. So like, I understand what it takes to develop things and what it takes to bring things to market. And it's just not easy at all. It's just such a behemoth task to get, when someone requests something from DJ Event Planner to get done or to get rolled out, they don't just,
it's just not,
we'll do it tomorrow. Like, it takes months to figure out code and like get that rolled out and check bugs. And
I've been approached a bunch of times about, teaming up and coming up with our own CRM of, our design. I'm like, listen, nah. I'm honored that you think I'm on that level, but I'm not on that level in reality. That's just, that's beyond me.
There's a team of developers that make that stuff happen.
It also, I like the options, sure, we can complain about the little bullshit or whatever in DJ Event Planner, but in the end it's so powerful. I mean, with a little jerry rigging and figuring out backwards ways to do things, if it doesn't work exactly how I wanted it, I can accomplish exactly what I consider the perfect workflow from client contact all the way to review collection. I can create what I want, and it happens every single time with DJ Event Planner.
Can you give, so like I said at the beginning, most people that listen to this podcast are familiar with you just in general, or have seen your name somewhere. So the idea of automation isn't new, but can you kind of give us, for your brand, for Dow Oak, what is the typical process that DJ Event Planner solves the problem on the client side, kind of, without getting into all the minutia of all the technology and all of the different booking helpers? What is the general workflow that saves you time using a CRM like this?
So, I'll the things everyone's doing, it's not like anyone is, I mean, I'm sure some people are, but I'm not doing anything super specific to my company. It's just like money collection, planning form collection, sign the contract stuff, review collection. That's it. That's for the most part it. And then DJ meeting, touch base, stuff like that. So I step back, you think of the entire timeline, and I have a specific day for all of that shit to go off. So, first day of booking, first we'll email and tell you the timeline, because I want you to know the literal Friday, April 23rd, or whatever it is, this is going to happen, and so there's no surprises the whole way. So we intro with our timeline, and we probably said that during the sales call as well, because we don't vary ever, no matter what. Like if you want, like, the DJ is going to reach out to you 21 days prior to your event date. If you want him to reach out 22 days prior, you're shit out of luck with us. That's not happening. What is it? 21 days out, the DJ touches base with a couple and sends them their Calendly link so they can set up a meeting. 16 days out, the planning forms lock, and I get an email with all of the possible upcharges that are on the planning forms. Like, oh, did you want tube lights? And if they clicked yes, I get that in a little email. And then I go into their file and I add all the shit if they purchased anything since the original booking. And then the next day, 14 days out, their final balance is due. And then we collect reviews after, and we just like absolutely hound people for reviews. It's appropriate. I don't know. That's actually the wrong word for it, because we actually don't completely hound. We ask a lot of different people for reviews. How about that? We ask 12 people for every event for a review.
12 people.
12 different people. It's assuming you're doing a wedding, because we're strict weddings, but bridegroom, best man, maid of honor, parents, videographer, photographer, coordinator, and venue contact. 12 people. Yeah.
And so, nerd tech question here. Are you asking for the contact information in the planning form so that there are meta tags that go out to the emails?
Yep.
To the
Correct.
sendee, like it's popping in.
Right.
Right.
So, like, it'll be like, what's your fucking coordinator's email, in a single box, and whatever the lead or that person types in that, it fills in the blank of a preset automated email, and it just goes to wherever they told it it's supposed to go, assuming they do it. If they don't do it, it breaks and it just never goes. But I don't really care, because usually they do. And like, left to my own devices, I wouldn't even be doing a tenth of that. So it's fine.
Right. So we had a podcast that we recorded a couple weeks ago, and one of the huge themes, it was with Brian Bonassisi. And one of the things that he talked about, which then broke down into a solo cast, was the idea of how powerful communication is, just in business in general, just in life in general, and relationships and everything. So what it sounds like that you've done is you have taken like almost like an anthropological view of the entire process, like a sociological view of, this is every touch point. This is everything that happens from the time they look at the website to the time they leave a review. And you've documented, this is a thing that happens. This is how to get more out of that interaction through proactive communication. And then you've automated the shit out of it.
Well, if you know what A/B testing is, which I'm sure you do, but like, once you have something like this, even if it sucks from front to back, it's not successful. Well, but you have a starting point, and then this little part, you're like, okay, what could I do to improve this little chunk? And then, oh, A/B test, side A proves, so that steps up, and you slowly, and then it's fucking dope eventually, and it's foolproof, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, you can't even. It's not possible to build on previous if you don't have something set in stone.
Right. So you're delegating communication and building a system that lives on its own. So if you know the cost of DJ EP, like even the most expensive DJ EP plan is like $50 a month. So you're talking like $600 a year.
Nothing.
Compared to a human being who would actually manually have to send all those emails and follow up all those things and ask for all those reviews. You're talking about
the amount of
action.
The amount of work is about 3 full-time jobs is what DJ Event Planner does automatically. That's like typically if I'll step in on a big time company that doesn't have that and then go from 0 to 100 on their DJ Event Planner automated, they can usually get rid of about 3 full-time admin people.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, that's $200,000. I don't know how much you're paying your admin people, but that's sarcastic.
That is a lot. It's a lot that goes back to the power of scalability, right? So you want to talk about why is this stuff so important? And, from afar, from a slight distance, I've been watching what you've been doing with Dow Oak, and I see that you've got a few different locations. Where are the other branches that have that same name?
The branch, because I live in Greensboro, that is like 5-hour radius. So it's like you could that's North Carolina, South Carolina, a little bit of Virginia, a little bit of Tennessee, a little bit of Georgia. To add those states is a drastic thing, though. It's North and South Carolina primarily, but widespread. And then all of New Jersey, Southern New York, like Staten Island, and then Philadelphia side of Pennsylvania. That's all Dow Oak. And then we also do another company that's just under the umbrella of Dow Oak, but titled differently, in Rochester and Buffalo, New York.
Okay. And that one has a different name.
Right.
Okay. And on all of these satellite offices, do you have a DJ or an office manager, or do you have someone or a general manager or someone in charge of that branch, or are you doing most of it yourself from North Carolina?
So I sort leads and I don't have to do all that much, as we just talked about. Kind of most of that is kind of autopilot-y, but that's what I do. And then when a lead gets to a phone call, that like if they set a phone call, that's when the general manager of that branch takes over. And they do the sales call, they enter it into DJ Event Planner, and are the controller of that DJ Event Planner.
Have you found that you like having the satellite offices enough to justify continuing to do it? Like, is it working well enough that you feel really comfortable, or is it one of those things like still in A/B testing?
Comfortable? No. Always, definitely still A/B testing. Rochester company, we took a totally different approach on purpose than spreading Dow Oak Events up to New Jersey. So the difference was Dow Oak Events to New Jersey, we kept the same title. I wanted to just paste it somewhere else. So we approached it with 2,000 reviews. We already had that just to see the difference. And we also put a ton of marketing dollars behind it. That's ridiculous. Now over to upstate, we started the entire company from scratch. We did it in 3 days. I was telling you about it. Hopped on Fiverr, got the logo, made a quick website, just the whole nine. We bought an account on the Knot and Wedding Wire for that local area. That was the extent of the investment, though, just to see profit margins and shit by the end of the year, or the end of the second year, just to see what happened. And so far, weirdly, New York, the Buffalo one is the one that is profitable, like super profitable, versus New Jersey. New Jersey's going really well. That one's sustainable. I'm not sure about Rochester because we're running it 100% remote. Like, I'm in Greensboro. I've never met any of those DJs in my life. And I don't think the manager has either, because he lives in Greensboro, or he lives in Raleigh, which is north of Greensboro. Sure. But that was another thing. Our manager for Jersey lives there. It's just totally different. It's what you'd expect versus a completely remote driven company.
Okay, let's talk about this here, because with your automation process, you know, I think finding the sweet spot of how much a DJ costs, or like understanding in your market, there is, if you're too expensive, or you're not expensive enough, or you're not in the right sweet spot, sometimes automating things doesn't work as well, because the expectations of the clients don't line up to the automated workflow as well.
100%, yes. And it's funny, like, so when I have a consult to set up someone's automation, they're trying to say what you're trying to say, and they don't know how to say it, because they're basically like, listen, I charge a lot of money. Don't treat people like computers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And well, it's a duh at this point, but it wasn't always a duh, but I'll say duh now. So your price point has to correlate with how you talk to people, of course. Now, like a lead automated email, like they haven't written you a paycheck, which I would consider the most important anyways. So if you are, let's say you're top tier pricing, the difference is you don't try to sell them with an automated email. You're not like, hey, John and Linda, congratulations on your engagement, blah, 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 and there's all this specific shit that was automatic. You can't do that. You just like email them and you're like, hey, any updates? And then if they reply, you, who is a real human, talk like you're expensive all of a sudden. Play expensive salesman, Another thing you might be able to do it, but maybe not. See, like our DJs touching bass 21 days out. Well, obviously you could probably never touch bass 3 weeks for the first time ever if you're super expensive. Right. But I even automate that, and it's probably, they probably know it's automated. I don't really know that for sure, but automated email from the DJ's email address. Hey, I'm Brian. I'm going to be your DJ. I'm so excited. Here's my number. Here's my calendar. Set up a meeting. Let's go over your forms, and then Brian, all he has to actually do, he gets a text. Oh, call Susie at 3:00 on Wednesday. Done, and so his entire investment is a 15-minute phone call, the event, and he's done. So it keeps my labor cost way down. And these DJs, we could talk about, we feel like maybe like underpaid or something like that, but the amount of work involved for our weddings versus like a wedding they took from maybe another company or do on their own is like a fifth. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, we pay like $200 less, but everyone's like way cool with that.
And we have two multi-ops. We have one that's an expensive multi-op, and they have one that's a lesser expensive multi-op. And we go through a lot of time and energy to try to figure out the differences in the sales process and the automations. And do we do sales calls with this one? How do we do sales calls with that one? Because you got to think about all that stuff. And I'd say that we are on both sides of the sweet spot. Like the sweet spot is probably in between both of our companies. And I think if we tried to operate both of them in the sweet spot, we would cannibalize each other.
Right.
So we try and stay outside of it, but then it helps make the difference bigger. But I think that also helps recognize when I see a company like yours. There's a company that's near our market that I would say probably follows your model a little bit closer, and I can see that they're right in the middle. And sometimes I'm like, I can see the dollar sign.
I think we do. Yeah. So we're not the most expensive company in our area. Like Bun is in our area. Rick Weber's in our area. There's a couple other big names that don't do conventions, so you guys probably wouldn't know them. But either way, we're not the most expensive by any means. Now, as for profit margin, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know everyone's profit margin, but we might have like one of the highest, because we really have pushed our prices to where they can't go up anymore. I mean, I would say we're charging maximum without changing our game plan behind it. We can still get away with the shitty facade. We can still get away with just normal 2-top black speakers. We can get away with polo shirts that are short sleeve. We don't have to wear all this suits and all this I'll call it invested time into these gigs, that a higher price point would definitely force us into. And so we can still maintain the bulk and the cheapness, whatever, the low cost, the low overhead, but we're charging the most for someone doing that I'm aware of.
Yeah. And I think I've said this a few different times on the podcast. This is a good time to repeat it, especially if someone might be a first-time listener. Something I learned a few years ago, because I used to have a lot of live musicians on our roster, and the saying that changed my entire mindset was, are you making decisions for ego or for profit? And most of my decisions early on were for ego, because I was like, oh, it's so cool to have this thing, or to have this blues singer on the roster that I charge $600 for and pay him $525. And I'm like, this is insanity, you know? So, are you doing it for ego, or are you doing it for profit? And I think there's a lot of gatekeeping, and there's a lot of, you're not a real this or a real that, or this business model is better or worse. And I don't agree with any of that. I think if you are,
it's sarcastic. It's so this job is easy. And you also, it's such a vague thing. You can come at it so many different ways and do well or shitty, Yeah. I mean, one of the best things we ever did was stop selling a bunch of bullshit. We cut out monograms. We stopped talking about sparks. I don't even remember the shit we used to try. It was just all the stuff. And we just stopped, and it made us able to sell more of what we were actually making money off of, We only have 3 add-ons: photo booth, uplight, tube light. There's no other purchasable item.
That is your $1 million idea right there, by the way, listeners. Don't overcomplicate stuff.
Yeah. I mean, well, also, you can't expand to 10 states if you don't keep shit simple. People all the time are trying to make their automated stuff all complicated. And I'm like, you're coming to me to set your automation up because you don't know how to use it. Why are you going to make it more complicated than something you already don't know how to use? It's just going to not work for you. Even if in your mind you're like, wow, that would be cool. It would be cool if you'd fucking learn how to use it, but you won't. And that's fine, but you got to use something that you do know how to use. You're playing, you may as well hold it up to playing the guitar. If you can't play the guitar, you can't play the guitar. So you got to learn how to do it before you do it. And that's the same deal with a CRM. I'm using it like an instrument.
Yes. And you don't go from not playing the guitar to playing songs that have 12 different
fucking through the fire and flames on expert. We gotta practice a couple times. I don't know if you're a Guitar Hero or
but I'm a guitar-er.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. You work your way up. It's the same kind of thing. And I think you saying playing a CRM or using a CRM like an instrument is the most accurate thing I've heard about you in a while. Because it's true. You're taking the creativity, the innovation, the technical interest that you probably had when you were DJing full time and doing that, and you're applying it to something that's a different instrument, but it's still the same brain processes that you used to go through, and that's why it's probably still enjoyable for you, I imagine.
People ask, "Oh, DJ event planner or simple? Which one's better?" And the true answer is simple. No, I'm just kidding. That's the true answer. I'm just kidding. But, the true answer is well, which can you use better?
100%. Eric, it's been awesome having you on the podcast today. We talked about a lot of stuff, and you shared some really awesome wisdom with people. Will you please tell everyone how they can find you?
I am an avid Facebooker. I'm maybe the only one, but you can easily get me on Facebook. Eric Massengale, ErikMassengale. On Instagram, Eric_Massengale.
Perfect. And how about let's set up the Dow Oak Instagram too. How can we find that one?
Dow Oak Events on Instagram. That's it.
Very cool. You guys, as always, there are free resources at blueprintlearn.com/resources. And thanks again, Eric. And we'll see you on the next one.